If you talking about money, my nigga,
we all in.
Counting stacks of them hundreds, my nigga,
We all in.
want the fame in the shows,
My nigga, we all in.
if it's money, cash, hoes,
My nigga, we all in.
if you pulling clean whips,
My nigga, we all in.
down to move a couple bricks,
My nigga, we all in.
if you talking about the dub,
My nigga, we all in.
treat life like poker,
My nigga, we all in.
we all in like the hook say. I would say that my niggas is hot.
Yeah, what up, what up, what up? It's the man about town, Brother Bear, A.K.A. Stacks with the Facts. And y'all know y'all tuned in to another episode, A Real Talk Podcast, A Real Talk Media LLC, all of that stuff combined. Of course, I'm Brother Bear, Stacks with the Facts, and y'all tapping in with me. Now, I know a lot of people are going in on this subject on YouTube right now, so I definitely want to come with my perspective and considering the Travis Scott situation in Astroworld. Now, I know a lot of people making videos on YouTube and just, making the connections with Astroworld and just making connections with the demon time and the symbology. And the concert was on November 5th and November 6th, but it started on November 5th. And I think in order for us to get a deeper over, inner, outer understanding about this subject, we gotta do some history and connect some dots. Now, I don't really listen to Travis Scott's music, not a fan, not knocking him. But when I look at the imagery, when I look at the entrance of the Astroworld Festival, music festival, and you're whirling through a big, huge, inflated head of him with his mouth open and you're walking through his mouth, I can't help but see that symbology right there. I just can't help but see it. It's smacking me in my face, and I'm going to definitely call it out for what it is, because when I look at previous Astroworld music festivals, he has similar inflatable half of his skull with his mouth open. I think the last year one, it was a straight skull looking like his head. So, you got to do your research on the symbology, and you got to do your research on what these things mean underneath what we've been told they mean. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if y'all remember a movie, man. I remember a movie that came out a few years ago called V for Vendetta. Right? Remember, the 5th of November. Now, y'all know I have to do some research, man, because I'm a research type of guy. And let's just walk this down slow a little bit, all right? Travis Scott and Drake. They were like the headliners of this tour. And notice when Drake came on stage, things got a little bit amplified. At least that was reports what we're saying. Now, at this event venue, it was 50,000+ people in attendance, right? 8 people were killed. 8 people were killed, many more were injured. I think they said upwards of 300 more people were injured. And they say the chaos really popped off at like 9 o'clock when Drake came out and they did the song called Sicko Mode. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on at that concert. A lot of drugs being used, as we know. There's a lot of underage people in there too. And there were reports of people passing out due to being overdosed and exposed to opiates. And they would have to administer many people, a lot of them underage, Narcan. I know what Narcan is. You know what I mean? We won't get into Narcan, but they was giving them Narcan, and the security officer after the event, right? He said he went to try to prevent some kids or some, concert goers from, rushing the stage or breaching the structures that had the barricades. He said as he did that, he felt a prick in his neck. And he had to be administered Narcan as well. So people were out there randomly, it seemed to speak, or were being made to believe due to this story right here, that they just were running around poking people with needles full of opiates. Is it a possibility? Maybe not. I wasn't there, so I don't know. What I'm saying is Narcan had to be administered to numerous people. Most of these people were underage. 8 people were killed, 300+ more were injured, right? Troy Finer is his name. He's the Houston police chief, and he's the one who released this statement talking about the cop that got hit in the neck with the needle and had to be treated with Narcan. And, you know, it was reported that many more people had to get treated as well from their use of drugs. And also a lot of people were suffering from cardiac arrest up in there. So what was really going on? That's a whole nother topic, right? And like I said, several people were treated with this Narcan stuff. Narcan is a drug, an opiate that, you know what I'm saying, prevents people who are overdosing from narcotics, whether they be opiates, uppers, downers, wherever it is, and it balances you out, you know, so you don't overdose. You know, kind of like how them Suboxone strips is opiates, but they sort of, you know, like curb when you're trying to come off of drugs, but they're really more addictive than actual drugs. Stuff is crazy, man. November 5th, right? Now let's go back to the movie V for Vendetta, right? November 5th. And we gotta do some connecting some dots. Travis Scott had this concert on November 5th. And it's not no mistake, you know? I know, you know, people might say that people be reaching when they say stuff like this, but you gotta connect the dots, right? November 5th is also, now before I get on what I'm about to say, notice that at this event, it was 528 police officers there, man. 755 security guards. And I bring that up to mention, with all that security, now you would think there's 50,000 plus people in attendance, but even with all that security, even at the Houston Astrodome, where there's a lot of security, a lot of surveillance, you mean to tell me that they don't have the security wherewithal to make sure and see and be up on game about people running around sticking people with syringes full of opiates or drugs, narcotics? I don't know, that seems like a lot of security for me, for 528 actual police officers and 755 security officers, you know? And if you look at the footage from the actual concert, like things were gotten crazy. Like after 9 p.m. when Drake and them came on stage and played Sicko Mode, the crowd went crazy. So, you know, that's a whole nother video to get into. But November 5th, remember, the 5th of November, go watch V for Vendetta, y'all. V for Vendetta. Right, on November 5th is a British royal holiday, right? Recognizing and celebrating a guy named Guy Fawkes. You know what I'm saying? King James I ordered the banishing of all Catholic priests during his reign. King James I, right? King James I is responsible for what, y'all? Rewriting the King James Version Bible. And of course, Guy Fawkes, who was a member of the English Catholics, was totally against this. And Guy Fawkes is the guy who on V for Vendetta, when he wears that mask with the mustache, that is a caricature of a guy named Guy Fawkes, who is said to have been blocking guarding the gunpowder that they had placed strategically under the Parliament building, which is what I'm about to get to, right? So King James I banished all the Catholics from out of England, right, in 1604, right? Right? Let me get my notes right. Yeah, that's what it was. The King James I and his royal, chamber, his cabinet, his regime, his kingdom. They wanted to get rid of the power that the church was trying to have over the state, the monarchy. They felt that the king and the royal family should have supreme rule over the United Kingdom, right? And the Catholic Church wasn't having this, right? You know what I'm saying? A small group of Catholics, they called themselves the English Catholics, y'all, right? And they plotted to put this scenario together, or put this demo together, where they were going to kill King James I when he attended the parliamentary hearing a year later, right? And that's what we're about to get to, right? It was known as the gunpowder treason, or the gunpowder plot, right? The plan was to blow up, like I said, the plan was to blow the king up at the parliament meeting with a whole bunch of gunpowder, right? On November 5th in 1605, when King James would be attending the opening session of Parliament. They waited a whole year, man. They waited a whole year and plotted this down with the help of the English Catholics, which Guy Fawkes was a member of. They were part of the Catholic religion, you know, offshoots of the Knights Templar, and they felt like the Pope should have all rule over all kings, right? So they was beefing with each other. King James I also is the one responsible for restructuring the Bible to what it is today, taking out all them books that's not in it no more. So you can understand, see, King James allegedly was trying to, you know, keep the books in, but nah, he wanted to keep the books out along with the Catholic Church, but he wanted to have his version, and the Catholic Church, the papacy was not going along with what King James I wanted to do with his version of the Bible. They wanted to keep the Bible the way it was, just minding the books they took out of it. But King James wanted to add his little to the Bible, and that's what they was beefing over. And you know, the British monarchy at that time was way more powerful than the church. It was the only monarchy that stood up to the church. You know, the Dutch went down, the French went down, the Spanish went down. You know what I'm saying? Everybody succumbed to the power of the church except for the British royal family. Think about that, y'all, even to this day. You know what I'm saying? And a few days earlier, on October 26th in 1605, you know what I'm saying, this is how everything got tripped off. Somebody had sent a letter to Parliament, you know what I'm saying, a guy who was a member of Parliament. I can't remember what this guy's name is, it's not really mentioned, but the story goes, there was a guy who was a member of the English Parliament. He received a letter from a Catholic, English Catholic who was a member of the English Catholic Society, or the English Catholic, you know, secret society inside of the Catholic Church, you know what I mean, who was going against the kingdom, you know, the royal family, you know what I'm saying. They was a sympathizer with this particular member in Parliament. So they sent him the letter thinking that he was going to, you know what I'm saying, help them out somehow. But this guy showed the letter allegedly to the royal cabinet of King James I. So they got privy to it, they was hip to it. So on November 4th, right? Hold on, let me make sure I get that right. Yeah, on November 4th, 1605, right? November 4th, 1605, when they were the night before, they were supposed to set the gunpowder under Parliament and blow King James up. What they did was the night before is King James was already hit to it. So he waited all the way up. Now, mind you, he got this letter. Dude got this letter on October 26th. So this is a couple days before the 4th. It's like a week or so earlier, allegedly. So King James was hit to it. So you know what? He said, you know what? Let them set up and get prepared. You know what I'm saying? And think everything is doing. Then the night before, go hit them. And that's what happened. And they caught Guy Fawkes at the scene guarding the gunpowder. You know what I'm saying? So it was like 15,000 pound barrels or something, 1,000 barrels of gunpowder they was said that. So they was really trying to blow the whole Parliament building up, which we know is number 10 Downing Street now, right? They was trying to blow that up because King James was supposed to be in attendance at the opening session of the parliamentary hearings that day. But the plan got foiled, so to speak, and now we have Guy Fawkes. When you watch the movie V for Vendetta, his face is that mask with the mustache. That's the caricature face of Guy Fawkes. You feel me? I said, I gotta connect the dots. Now, walk with me, right? November 5th, right? Now, Robert Catesby is the real founder and leader of the English Catholics. He was connected to the English Rothschilds, as well as the Vienna Rothschilds and the Oppenheimers and the Schiff family. See how this stuff is connected, y'all? You feel me? We're gonna connect the dots to Travis Scott, right? November 5th was called Gunpowder Treason Day or Guy Fawkes Day. So which is why in the movie V for Vendetta, the character V, right, wore the Guy Fawkes mask, and he was setting up to do what he did as far as like blowing up everything on TV as far as the government buildings and stuff on the 5th of November, commensurating the anniversary of what Guy Fawkes was attempting to do on November 5th in 1605. Now let's take it back to Travis Scott. November 5th was the day of his concert. November 5th and 6th. Now this whole situation happened on the first night, November 5th. 8 people died. One of them was a 14-year-old kid. I can't remember his name, right? Then you got the entrance to the concert being an open mouth with an inflatable head of Travis Scott with people walking through the mouth, symbolizing eating of humans. Y'all can sit up here and think this stuff is a game, think it's a joke, think it's all fun and games, but I'm telling you, man, this stuff means stuff. And if you ever connect the dots, and if you think that Travis Scott having his concert on November 5th is not related into somehow, because these people are all about ritual. The people who own and run the music industry and the entertainment industry, they are all about ritual. November 5th is Guy Fawkes Day. Why is that day so important? That is the day that they put out the these psyops been going on for forever, man. You know, so this is a 1605 psyop to make you think that the Catholic Church and the British royal family is beefing, which they are at some point, but at the end of the day, they both working towards the same goal, right? So November 5th is a day to basically represent, you know what I mean, when the British royal family was going at it with the Catholic Church, and as we all know, they all related and connected anyway. You know what I'm saying? So basically, I look at Astroworld as a commiseration of the manipulation of our perception of thinking that these so-called beefing power structures are going at it, which they are, but at the same time, they're all going towards the same goal, which is, y'all know what I'm talking about. NW up. The smart grid is here. So this is why I say this, dog, because I want to connect the dots on this stuff, because y'all can see this, how they're using the music industry to desensitize us and program us to be prepared to experience these things, which we are when we go to these concerts where they nothing but big, huge rituals, y'all. Blood sacrifice rituals at that, symbolically and literally. If we don't start looking into this stuff and connecting the dots on this stuff, y'all, we're going to continue to let this stuff manipulate our perception of reality. We're going to get further and further into demon time. Now, I know everybody is like, you know, you'll see everybody would say this up, I know y'all a lot of Travis Scott fans out there, and y'all want to support him, but understand, you can, no matter what you believe, and no matter what I believe, what matters is the people that run this industry, the one that Travis Scott is a slave and puppet of, right? Notice, or should I say know that they practice demonic witchcraft, rituals, and all of this stuff. So we have to be spiritually prepared for what's coming when it comes to this stuff. Now, you know, we get into all type of stuff when I holler at my brother Mr. O, holler at my brother Red Supreme, or whatever we talk about, but we're going to start getting into the deeper aspects. This is why we coming together and having different facets and different platforms to talk about different and various subjects. Now, this thing with Travis Scott is demon time all day. I'm going to let y'all know that off top. I don't care what nobody say about it. And I just connected the dots on one of the reasons that he had his concert on November 5th, because he's commiserating Guy Fawkes Day, or basically the day that they kept up the illusion that the royal family and the British royal family and the Catholic Church is somehow beefing, and they sacrificed people. Guy Fawkes, man, they hanged, tortured, and quartered these guys. I want you to do some research on what hanged, torturing, and quartering somebody means. That's what they did to Guy Fawkes and all the rest of their crew. You know what I'm saying? Your boy Catesby, you know what I'm saying? What's his name? Robert Catesby set the whole demo up. So when y'all join these secret fraternal organizations, just know that y'all are cannon fodder, y'all puppets to be used for whatever they want to use y'all for. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep going in and exposing this stuff, man. Y'all got to be able to connect the dots. Y'all got to be able to, you know what I'm saying, question everything and do your due diligence and be able to see, well, what's the correlation and connection? And we always can go back in history. November 5th is Guy Fawkes Day. November 5th. Astroworld began on November 5th. That same day, 8 people were trampled to death and many more were injured. Blood sacrifices. Look at the entrance to the venue. Look at the imagery on the stage with the fire. I know y'all feel it, man. I know a lot of y'all like these rappers and stuff, man, and y'all be feeling like, nah, but, you know, we seeing the demon time being pressed through the music. And to not speak up, wanted to speak out about it, that's your choice to do. I, for one, choose to say something because I'm informed and I can connect the dots. So as you already know, man, shouts out to everybody on YouTube who rock with Stats for Facts. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out with everybody who rock with A.K.A. Talk Podcast. It's the A.K.A. Talk Media. You know what I'm saying? Please hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? Smash that like button. Share on your social engineering. We ain't calling it social media anymore. Social engineering. You know what I'm saying? Get these videos out and get this information out, man. And if anybody want to build and connect with me, hit me up on my email at artmediallc@yahoo.com. See, I like camming up. You know what I'm saying? I like doing pre-recorded videos and I like camming up. You know what I mean? Because when you come on this here YouTube and you talk about stuff you talk about, you gotta cam up, man. So with that being said, shouts out to my brother Mr. O. Shouts out to my brother Red Supreme TV1. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to everybody at the family who tap in when my homie Red go live. We have our conversation, and this is the family extending and branching off. Go subscribe to Mr. O. Go subscribe to Mr. O and the Mr. O podcast. Well, my fault, Mr. O and the Ozone podcast. My bad, brother. Go holler, subscribe to my man JB Lurkin, fire content. Go subscribe to Jay the Black, fire content. Go subscribe to Lord of Honesty, decent content, fire content. Go subscribe to Danica Marie. Go subscribe to Crimson Cure. Go subscribe to Shantastic Trill TV. Go subscribe to Chantel Simone. You know what I'm saying? Go subscribe to China White, I think that's her name. China White or China Black, which one of Red's people? I can't remember. If I butcher your name, apologize, Mom. Forgive me. But you know what I'm saying? We don't do no clout chase, man. It's just real people linking up. You know what I'm saying? Listen here, man. You know, so I'm here to expose demons, bro. So, you know, hit me up on the email, like I said, artmediallc@yahoo.com. Subscribe to the chat page. Hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? If y'all really want to, you know, collabo, check out the content and I do videos. So, you know what I mean? It's time for us real brothers to come on this YouTube, drop this real game in this raw form. You know, since we can expose all the fuckery that's going on these YouTube streets, man. That being said, it's your boy Stats for Let me rewind that. It's your guy Stats for Facts. You know what I'm saying, Brother Barry. Hey man, make sure y'all hit that like button.
They used to look past me, now they ask me. I've been nice for years. Check out my track sheet. I be all over.